welcome to the Fairy Elephant Effect, the podcast that dares to explore the moments that shaped us and the stories we're ready to rewrite. I'm your host, Elizabeth Walter, life coach, EFT tapping specialist, and happy habits activator. I believe that you matter because everything starts and ends with you. This is a space where we get honest, we get curious, and we get free. Together we shift from trauma to truth, from pain to purpose, and from stuck stories to soulful living. Whether you're healing, growing, or simply learning to being better at being you, you're in the right place. So let's take a moment and let's begin. So this week, a subject that I find really intriguing because many of us have the wrong impression of it, I believe. So it's episode 21 and we're talking about procrastination. Yes, that word. But we're going to be redefining the pause. So last week I had a conversation with a client and we were talking about this, and actually last night in the free Turn the Tide with Tapping group that I have, my Facebook group, we actually talked a bit about procrastination and tapped about it as well. You see, I believe that the word procrastination is a construct of our society. It's a part of our narrative that keeps us from being us, and we're always doing things. It keeps us from being ourselves, from being in flow, in relaxation, and allowing ourselves to have a rest. Because resting is trained out of us. We are not allowed to rest. We are not allowed to recoup our energy. We are not allowed to readjust our direction. You know that old saying, you make your bed and you lie in it. You know, we as part of society were told you had to get a plan and you had to stick to it, no matter what the cost, emotionally, physically or mentally. And procrastination is a part of that construct. So procrastination is a word that covers many things, and we're not allowed to ever say, no, that's not working for me. Some people use it as a mean of avoidance, but that's not always what it is. Sometimes, and I actually believe most of the times, it's entirely something else, and that's what I want to talk about today. Because for me, procrastination is a gateway to creation. And I actually had this proven. For me, you know, there's times when you get stuck and I just don't want to get into that, or I feel that I can't quite reach that, and I just say, right, I'm giving myself permission to not do it. I am just going to sit here and watch that TV program, or I'm going to just lie on my bed and spend a few moments imagining my life, and that's a big thing. I'm not going to go into that today, but emotional stories are very powerful. And I often find I get to the other side of it. So we need to start changing how we allow ourselves to be. Because when we are being ourselves, when we're really listening, we are in connection with our inner wisdom, our own voice, and our natural rhythm. And so this is really important, because when you are always doing that list, and that list at the end of the day isn't giving you satisfaction, or you feel purposeful, or you feel accomplished, it's because you're doing a list because you think that you're doing things that are going to make a difference. But all that doing is doing you no good, because it's stopping you from being who you are. And that's why I do the priming the day exercise. I do this every morning because I check in with myself. And I know what's aligned and I know what's mattered. I don't need to force myself or hustle or pressure just because the world says I should. I believe we need a new language around procrastination. Instead of judging ourselves for pausing, maybe we need to look at what the pause is inviting us to do or not to do. Maybe it's redirection. Maybe it's recalibration. Maybe it's a signal that something doesn't feel right. Maybe it's just having a rest, just stopping and having a breath. So when we, start to think of procrastination as a signal for something else, it is not that it's our enemy. And what say it's just giving us new information? What say it's telling us that maybe there's another way we can be us? Because it's really important to stop getting hooked up in this. Because when you're doing things for the sake of doing them, as I've said, it really is separating you from having a conversation. So priming your day, I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is put my hands on my heart and I thank my body. Because my body's not here just to carry around my head. I thank my body for everything it does for me. And your body mightn't be at optimum, but it doesn't matter. I want you to thank your body because you are connecting your head and your heart. As soon as you put your hands on your heart, you're connecting those two things. Your mind has a mind and your body has a mind. We want to start having the conversation from the inside out. Start having a life that is led from the inside. Procrastination stops you from having that life because it keeps you busy, keeps you doing, and then when you don't stay in that cycle, you start beating yourself and saying you're lazy and saying that perhaps you're not good enough, but really you're more than enough. And being who you are is totally okay. A little bit also that comes into procrastination, or for you it might be a big thing, is that if you are not doing something, you haven't got the list, you're not doing something, then you have no right to be here. You are taking up space. You need to validate your existence. You need to validate who you are and how you are showing up. People need to see you as doing something. But really, if we start to understand that our energy is what people really tune into, it's not our words. Our words are only 30% of our language. 70% is body language. And if our body has its own mind and our body is energy, that being who we are and being connected to our heart space and our bodies makes a huge difference to how our life looks. So let's go back to priming your day. Hands on heart, thank my body, amazing body. I'm an incredible body. Even if your body's not perfect, thank it. Be kind, respectful and considerate to your body. And then say, may I take inspired action today? Action's important, but when you're having action that aligns with your inside world and your outside world, it has purpose, it has meaning, and you get the feelings of satisfaction and accomplishment, and all of those things start to happen for you, well then you are living a life that you love, that you like, and you are creating the right ripple in the pond. And I mean the emotional pond. I mean the mental pond. I mean being in the places where you are making a difference. Not just perhaps muddling through and making a difference, because when you are just doing things, that's serving society's measure, not your own. So I want you to realise that you are not alone with it. More people than I know are really absorbed with this hustle-based narrative that equals constant doing with value, and anything outside the grind is seen as a problem if you aren't grinding. But we are not machines. We are not designed for uninterrupted productivity. We are humans, and humans have seasons, rhythms, moods, and internal shifts. So I want you to start seeing as procrastination as the beginning of creation, because I have seen it time and time again. Look, I want you to stop doing all that stuff and just take some time out. I want you to lie around, listen to some music, lie on the grass, have a snap, whatever. I want you to stop. And what happens is something incredible happens. People become more creative. They have these sparks of ideas, because many people know this. It's not when you're doing the thing that you get the idea, but later on you do. When you relax and let yourself be, then that inner wisdom, that connection can come through. So when you feel like you're going to procrastinate, maybe you can say, I'm not aligned with this task. I need a breath. It just doesn't feel right now. I can choose to take time out. Procrastination could be seen as emotional intelligence. There's often a good reason we need to stop, and we just haven't been taught to ask what that reason would be. Let's get curious. Let's drop down. Instead of listening to what other people are saying, how about we start to listen to what might be being said to us inside of us? Instead of pushing harder, why don't we just take a breath and come to things much softer and not so hard? And I'm telling you, there'll be the people out there listening to go, but if I don't do the list, it's not going to get done. Then that won't happen, that won't happen. And I'm saying, look, I'm not saying give everything up. I'm not saying just go and sit down and do nothing. I'm saying find another way to make sure it's aligned with your inner and outside world. That there are things in there that give you intrinsic good feelings about yourself, like pride and accomplishment, satisfaction, joy, self-love. That is also stimulates your creative, because every single person is creative. So, do I need to redirect, rest or reset before moving forward? That's a great question to ask yourself. Is there something in me resisting because I don't feel safe, ready or supported? What is this pause trying to tell me? Another great question. So, how about you start thinking why you have been doing all this and really where it's getting to you? Because I want you to get to the place when you know when to act and when to wait. You know to trust your natural rhythm. You move with integrity, not anxiety. And you are rewriting the narrative. We live in a culture that praises hustle and punishes pause. But the truth is, pause is where some of our greatest wisdom emerges. In stillness we see more clearly. In reflection we realign. In the quiet space of non-doing we hear the soft inner voice that says this is the way. And I believe when we get quiet, our inner voice whispers, I love you. We connect back to ourselves in powerful, lasting and really ignites our life in a way that we've never experienced before. I don't want you to miss out on that. So that voice that is talking to us is not lazy, it's not defiant, it's intelligent, and it deserves to be heard. So what if procrastination wasn't a problem at all? What if it's a portal to creativity, clarity, redirection, or healing? What if it's a threshold moment, not a setback? I want to invite you into something. The next time you are in that feeling, that pause, we're going to call it pause, not procrastination, don't shame yourself. Instead, ask, what wants to emerge from this space? Because maybe you're not stuck, maybe you're shifting. And maybe your soul knows something you haven't caught up to yet. You're not lazy. You're living through a noisy world that demands constant output and really leaves room for true rest. And you're learning to reclaim your rhythm. That's not laziness, that's liberation. So here's your permission slip. Let your pause be sacred. Let your process be your own. And let procrastination become something you meet with curiosity, not condemnation. It might be just a signpost for your next breakthrough. Thank you very much for joining me here today. If anything has come up, or if you would like to know how you could work with me, any of the programs I have, one-to-one or one-to-many, please just reach out to me at lizziesinsights@gmail.com. Really would like to know how this landed for you. I'm Elizabeth Walter, the host for the Fairy Elephant Effect podcast, which is the same title as my book, which you will find on Amazon. And until next week, bye for now.